I knew at age 4 that I wanted to be a physician, and all of my spare time was spent reading, studying medical shows. I should have been watching, Zoom or Sesame Street, right, or the Electric Company, but I was watching Quincy about the coroner. Strange kid. I couldn't wait to graduate high school and go to college so that I could get an education, and I felt that would be my best opportunity to provide the security in my life that was lacking. I was pretty motivated. So I graduated high school when I was 15. I knew that I would do anything, whatever it took, to succeed, and that I was at the beginning of my path of changing. So there was this one day that changed everything. One of the programmer analysts that I worked with, Cindy Habermel, she came to me and said, if you don't go to medical school, I have an idea. She said, you're really good at fixing and solving technical, equipment. You love medicine. What about a degree in biomedical engineering? The University of Miami was only the second university in the United States to offer that degree after Johns Hopkins, and it was a PhD or a master's degree at that time. That began phase 2. I applied to become a programmer analyst at a small company that was an offshoot of Cordis Corporation. The general manager of this Cordis company, Joe Schneider, he interviewed me for the position, and he said, what do you really want to do? What are you studying in grad school? And I mentioned biomedical engineering, and he said, in this moment of grace, he said, I'll hire you for the programmer analyst position, but I'd rather hire you in my research and development department as an engineering tech. And it was a match made in heaven, right? So that's how I was able to complete my master's degree. And of course, I was fortunate and they hired me after as a full-fledged staff engineer. It's because each of us stands on the shoulders of those who came before. And so my process really initially was learning what had worked and what had not worked before my time. And then I simply built on what came before. So there was an existing technology that was patented most recently, by the time I arrived, by an engineer by the name of Rick Hillstead. And I have to give him credit. He was the one who built on what came before him and got us to this point. There is the heart of this access device for cardiovascular access. A sheath introducer is the access device. It's used ubiquitously. Almost every time there is a diagnostic or an interventional procedure, whether it be in cardiology, neuroradiology, or any type of interventional radiology. You have to have a way of getting the tools into the patient's body without blood loss. So I thought, there is a way I can solve this problem. I can use the existing design, the design of this complex valve, and change the material to a polymer that I knew was out there that has what we call high tear die B is its standard name. It's a high resistance to tear propagation in a cut polymer. So we had cuts in this polymer. If you can imagine this hemostasis valve, it had a special kind of cut in it to allow the passage of instruments. But the cut was propagating. I knew that there was a way that I could stop that from happening and stop the blood loss. With this product, I feel this gratitude and this engagement with real humans and patients from afar, because I feel like my product is helping hundreds or thousands of patients every year at the same time. It's a further reaching impact. I didn't do it myself, and I think it's really important to recognize I could not have invented that without the complex valve being there, just as none of us could invent, I guess, a smartphone, right, without the prior technology. But I know that I'm preventing blood loss, and it's allowing, especially because largely it's the vulnerable populations that I used to cry in my car about, older people, grandmas and grandpas who need these procedures. And I feel like I'm there making sure that they don't bleed excessively and lose their lives. It means a lot to me. I think to this day, that is my favorite thing about life, is having that curiosity and being so fortunate that I can fill it up, go find out. And it brings me, I'm regularly in a state of joy